Hey guys, this is Ranchin here, and bringing you guys the news of the fact that the Bigfile MSL Round 32 starts next week. So, next big MSL coming up. More work for me to do. MST recently ended, and we just had this group selection ceremony just yesterday, so I figured I'd tell you guys the groups, give my thoughts, and basically see what we guys have to look forward to. Now we got 8 groups as usual, and I'm just gonna get right into the nitty-gritty. Group A: Flash, Classic, Effort, and S2. I really don't see a reason to not favor the huge favorites here. Flash and Effort, the finalists of the OSL last season. Flash, of course, the winner of the last MSL, and Effort, the winner of the last OSL. So we could have a little bit of a grudge match following said OSL if these two guys win and get on to the winner's match. But one of these guys will be forced to go 2-1. We're going to see how it goes. Flash looks a little bit more vulnerable after his loss in the OSL than he's done in a long time, so we're going to see how it goes. But I really don't think that Classic and S2, despite S2 playing actually halfway decently lately, but I really don't think that Classic and S2 are going to be able to bring any sort of fight against Flash and Effort. So Flash and Effort to exit Group A. So Group B: Jaedong, Tyson, sKyHigh, and RorO. Jaedong, I think, pretty much the easy choice to make here. We got all races in this group, so it could be a little bit interesting. We could see some minor upsets or not. I think really the choice to make here is sKyHigh or RorO, and I'm having a hard time actually. Both these players are very skilled StarCraft players, but have a bit of a history of inconsistency, especially in sKyHigh's case, unless it's a Terran player, and unfortunately for sKyHigh, no Terran player in this group, and I really have a hard time to choose between, but I think I'm actually going to go with RorO in this case. sKyHigh or RorO could either exit the group. I think Tyson, despite, he's a new player that's been showing some promise, I really don't think he has what it takes to beat these guys. So I'm going to say Jaedong and RorO to exit Group B. Group C: Calm, Bisu, Action, and Hydra. This is definitely one of the more interesting groups. Bisu back in action, and he's done pretty decent so far. I'm not going to spoil his OSL results, but he's at least some of the few first games that he got back, he started to win a little bit. So we're going to see how he does in the MSL and the OSL. So yeah, I think a year or two ago, a Zerg-only group against Bisu, I would have said, Bisu, take it all. But this time it's going to be a little bit harder. Hydra, I think, is going to be the non-factor in this one. He might actually win some ZVZs. I'm not too sure. ZVZs are, of course, pretty hard to predict. And, Calm and Action could both get knocked out just by ZVZs. But I really don't know what to think in this case. I really think Hydra is just not good enough here to get out of this group. And Bisu, I don't know what to think, really. He's taken a long, month-long break, and he's come back. We're going to see whether it's with rejuvenated energy. If he's even, a little bit, still has some of his revolutionary skills back, I guess, I think he should be a shoo-in to get out 2-0, 2-1. The choice comes down between Calm and Action. Calm has been a little bit more inconsistent lately than I'm usually used to seeing him. So this actually gives me a little bit of a harder choice. I really like Action. I really enjoy his style of play. He's fairly good in ZVZ, so he could definitely beat any of the Zergs in the room. But when it comes to beating Bisu, I think Calm's the guy to do it. And I'm just going to go ahead with Calm. I'm going to say that Calm and Bisu to move out, although I would not at all be surprised if either Calm or Bisu gets knocked aside for Action to make it through the group. Now move on to Group D: Hyuk HoGiL, and forGG. I think Free's a shoo-in here, honestly. He really impressed me last season. He's a seed here, so I definitely think he's going to be one of the guys to move it through. Hyuk, of course, yet again, getting to the round of 32. No idea if he's going to make it further. HoGiL is a player that's good against Protoss and very little else. And forGG, luckily for him, he has some Zergs to beat. And he's a guy that kind of jumps up and down, so I really don't know what to expect from him. I think he's kind of the whatever the hell might happen will happen factor in this group, but he's been playing very well against Zerg lately, so I wouldn't be at all surprised if he managed to move out of this group. I'm going to say Free and forGG for this case, although it would not at all surprise me if somehow Hyuk or HoGiL managed to kind of maneuver themselves. Let's see, Group E, Midas, really, Shuttle, and Violet. Now, this is a group I actually find a little bit hard to say. Midas is a player that I really enjoy, but I think that his time of kicking ass like the last MSL in the Pro League, he's kind of petered down a bit. He's not playing as insanely as he used to. He's lost to a few players lately that I really didn't expect him to lose to, but at the same time, he's not been playing too much, so I really don't know what to expect. Really, generally, would be a heavy favorite, but also he's been showing signs of inconsistency. And Shuttle and Violet are, again, two players that don't really know what to think. Shuttle is fairly good at PvP, so he might take down Violet. Violet is not playing as strong as he did originally in the Pro League season. Just little things that you got to try to take into account, and I feel this is one of the groups that's going to be really, really hard to call. But I'm just going to go with my gut, really, more than anything else, and say that it's going to be really and Violet that move on. Midas and Shuttle are hard factors to predict, though, so this is kind of one of the groups that I feel is truly up in the air with nobody really a heavy favorite. But I'm going to say really and Violet. Group F, MVP, Light, Snow, and Cal. MVP kind of the guy you expect the others to pound upon, and I feel that Light has drawn the short stick here, playing against Cal and Snow. Cal really just altogether consistent player. He's become very good against Terrence, and Snow, the surprise lately, the CJ powerhouse that's come out of nowhere, kind of almost replaced Movie's spot as the main Protoss of the team, taking down some incredibly big names, has taken down Flash and Ace, things like that. It's absolutely insane the things he's done. And unfortunately for Light and MVP, his skills are mainly, despite the fact that he's shown strength in all matchups, his main skill is versus Terran, one of Light's weaknesses, and MVP, despite being decent at the matchup, I really don't think can stand to either Cal or Snell. So MVP or Light will be fighting some TVTs between each other. But even if one of them kind of manages to win that, I really think in the end it's going to come down to the two Protosses moving out. So I'm going to say Snow and Cal for Group F. Group G, Great, C, Zero, and Stats. I think this is definitely one of the groups some people would consider the group of death. Great as the seed in this one. He's been playing, well, kind of great lately. C, he doesn't have the same consistency he had earlier in the season, but still a strong player. Made a strong run the last MSL. Managed to get in the round of 16. I believe he got stopped there. Unfortunately, did not manage to move forward, but I really hope he manages to move past the round 32 and give us some awesome action. Of course, he's one of those players that insanely good on paper, and he's been playing overall good, if not too consistent. And Zero has lost some of his early consistency, but still should fare well against Protoss. And I feel Stats in this group is the one that, he's a guy that can win surprising matches against almost any player, so it's really hard for me to predict this one, but I'm going to go with Great and C. Zero, I feel, just has lost some of his consistency. I really don't know whether he can move out of this group. I feel he can. I definitely feel he's the player strong enough to move out of this group, but I really don't know whether to predict it for him in this case. So I'm going to say that Zero's not going to make it out, even though a part of me kind of, is feels like it's betraying myself because Zero is one of my favorite Zero players. Despite that, I really don't think he's going to make it out of this group, although I will be rooting for him, and I will hope that he does manage to do it. And the final group we got, Group H. Kind of another group that some people might think is the group of death. You kind of get to choose between G and H. But here we have HiyA, the seed, Hero, Fantasy, and JangBi. Nice to see Fantasy here. Nice to see Hero here. HiyA, again, one of those guys that can beat almost anybody on a good day. But unfortunately, he has bad days as well. So you kind of never know what you got with him. Although, just looking at the matchups here, I think he might have a decent opportunity to move out of it. He does have, unfortunately, the Protoss player in his best matchup. He has JangBi, who is, always been good against Terran. He seems to be reviving himself a little bit. Hero also lately has been playing all right, but I really don't think he's going to be the one to move out of here. Fantasy, again, a guy that can play with the best of them, but unfortunately has lost his old consistency in a little bit, but still a guy I will favor to move out of this group. It's going to be hard for me, but I think just the fact that HiyA, because he doesn't have more Protosses to face, he's just not going to be able to move out of this. And if Fantasy can pull, some of what he can pull, play the way he can play, I think he should be able to move out. Also, he has a Tyranitar face, so it's kind of good for that. He might have a Tyranitar face, that is. So I'm going to say Fantasy and JangBi to be the favorites out of Group H. So that's it for the groups. Let's all look forward to hopefully an awesome MSL yet again. Bigfile, whoever the hell those guys are, are going to be sponsoring it for us. And we had an awesome MSL last season, so let's hope for another one. And I want to give a quick message. Huge thank you for everybody who has donated. I'm going to keep donations open for a little while because I might manage to collect a bit more. I don't know. Would be nice to make things a little bit easier on me, but... huge thanks to everybody who's donated. I'm going to leave a link at the bottom for those of you that don't know I'm taking donations or whatever. But I'm going to make some sort of huge shout-out thank you video in the future for those that do donate. It's not a reason to donate, but hey, if you want to spend money to hear your name on the internet, go ahead. So, GG guys, wrenching out that's listening. Hope you enjoyed, and here's to another MSL. GG.